So in this video, I'm going to give you my own personal top 5 list of the best countries to retire in, and I'm going to base that upon retirement visas and cost of living. Stay tuned. All right, so let's go ahead and get to it. 5 best countries to retire. I'm going to base it off of healthcare, amenities, low-cost visas, and just overall, great countries to live in. So a lot of you will be surprised if you watch my vlogs that not number 1, but number 5, I'm actually going to put Malaysia. In fact, a lot of people probably thought that would be number 1 if you watch my vlogs, but no, it's not. It's number 5. And Malaysia, aside from having beautiful landscapes, a lot of expats are attracted to Malaysia. Basically, just the low cost of living. Consumer prices, including rent, are nearly 50% lower than in the U.S. So, with a one-bedroom apartment, for example, in Kuala Lumpur, renting for less than $400 a month. Now, there are hundreds of islands in Kuala Lumpur. A lot of people don't realize that. It's more than just one island. There's hundreds. Not as many as the Philippines or Indonesia, with the Philippines having over 7,000, Indonesia more than 15, 16,000. But Malaysia is definitely on the top of the list. Again, low cost of living, wide variety of restaurants, make it a food person's paradise. If you're a foodie, it's going to be absolute paradise for you. But let's go ahead and get into a little bit more about Malaysia and why it's number 5. All right, let's quickly go over some of the pros and cons of living in Malaysia, and also a little bit about the visa situation. I'm not going to go too heavily into that. I already did a Malaysia visa video. You guys can see that. I'll put a link in the description. In Malaysia, they have a program called MM2H, which basically means Malaysia, My Second Home Program. Foreigners can obtain a 10-year renewable multiple entry social visit pass, resident visa. Applicants have to prove that they can support themselves financially without working by meeting a certain minimum liquid assets and monthly income criteria, and by maintaining a fixed deposit with a bank in Malaysia throughout their stay in Malaysia, and that is not taxed. So quite a bit of paperwork involved in applying, but it's relatively straightforward, and you can get an agent as well to assist you for a fee, but not mandatory. And the great thing about it is you get a 10-year stamp in your passport, free of bureaucracy, and you can leave and re-enter Malaysia freely using the MM2H counters at the airport when they were manned. And then there's no need to return to immigration department for 10 years, unlike Thailand, the Philippines retirement visa schemes where retirees have to report to immigration annually. You don't have to do that in Malaysia. You get 10 years. You can just come and go as you please, which is fantastic. All right, so for number 4, I'm going with Ecuador. And so we're leaving Asia and we're going to Central America. So Ecuador really shouldn't be surprising for a lot of people. It has a lot for everyone, whether you prefer the beach, the mountains, the countryside, or the city. It's got all of that. It earned its highest score for its climate, which boasts an average annual temperature of 67 degrees, which is pretty ideal. Housing is a bargain, with rental prices notching 70% lower compared to the U.S. Overall consumer prices, excluding rent, are around 40% lower, allowing you to squeeze a little bit more value out of your retirement dollars. Ecuador extends a long list of money-saving benefits to expats, including discounts on your electric and water bills, discounts on entertainment, public transportation, reductions of certain taxes. So let's take a look a little bit more closely at their retirement visa. So there are a few different visas that you can do in Ecuador. I'm not going to go through all of them. I'll let you research if you're interested. The one I'm going to talk about is called the Cienado. In Ecuador, basically, the visa requires the applicant to show that they have a steady income from a guaranteed source that is stable and reliable, such as Social Security or from city, state, or corporate pension. And there is a minimum income requirement of $800 a month for a pension visa, plus $100 per family dependent moving to Ecuador with the primary applicant. All right, so coming in at number 3 is Mexico. Basically, Mexico, it has modern amenities, also kind of old-fashioned feel in certain parts. It's well suited to retirees who prefer, kind of the climate, almost similar to like the Philippines a bit. Close proximity to the U.S. and not so far from Canada and other places. It's earned one of the highest ratings on International Living's list for both entertainment and amenities, and the ease of establishing residency. Retirees can get a temporary resident visa, which is good for up to 4 years, and that's by meeting minimum monthly income or asset requirements or by owning property in Mexico. Now, if you plan on staying long-term, you can apply for a permanent resident visa, which has a higher income and asset requirements. So there are 5 states in Mexico, by the way, that have been singled out for U.S. State Department travel warnings, so you do want to be careful where you choose to relocate. So let's go ahead and take a look at the visa situation in Mexico. So in Mexico, you can actually get a temporary resident visa which lasts up to 4 years, and basically it depends on your assets. So you have to show proof that you can support yourself as a retiree on funds that you've made or are making outside of Mexico. And the minimum monthly requirement is about $1,400 in net income for an individual, and dependents would add about $520 each to that amount. You may also choose to provide bank statements for the last 12 months that show an average balance of at least $23,500. And lastly, you can qualify if you own property in Mexico with a value of around $207,000. Now, if you want to stay longer than 4 years, you can apply for a permanent resident visa. And if you made it to 4 years with a temporary resident visa, you can fairly easily alter it to permanent status. To qualify, you must show an investment statements with an average monthly balance over the last 12 months of $93,000 or a monthly net income over the last 6 months of at least $2,300. Okay, so coming in at number 2 for me is the country of Costa Rica. So Costa Rica is a pretty good choice if you value a healthy, kind of active lifestyle. It's earned one of the highest scores in the healthcare, amenities, and healthy living categories, and there's definitely not a shortage of things to do and see in Costa Rica. The cost of living makes Costa Rica very affordable, even on the smallest retirement budget. Consumer prices are 24% lower than the U.S. on average, with rent prices being about 54% lower. If you'd prefer to buy, you can find homes as low as $50,000 U.S. with property tax rates that are a fraction of what you would pay in the U.S. So let's go ahead and take a look at their visa situation in Costa Rica. All right, so for Costa Rica, they have what they call a pensionado program. It's the most popular residency visa for retirees. The main requirement is that retirees must have at least $1,000 U.S. in income monthly from a pension or Social Security retirement benefits. Applicants need to provide a number of documents, including proof of retirement income, birth certificate, marriage certificate if applicable, and a police certificate of good conduct. It's really not that hard, but you can also, if you have income from a government or private sector pension or retirement benefits, then you just have to show the sources, adding up to at least $1,000 a month. So there are also other residency visa options as well. So if you don't have a fixed retirement income guaranteed, you cannot apply. You can apply for a rentista program instead, and that income requirements for a rentista visa are set at $2,500 per month, probably over at least 2 years, or a $60,000 deposit in a Costa Rican bank. Again, there's other kinds of visas. I won't get into all of them, but that's what the Costa Rica visa looks like. Okay, finally we are at number 1. So number 1, believe it or not, I had a very hard time coming up with number 1. and it was between two countries. So I'm going to go ahead and just call it a tie, and I've got two countries coming in at number one, and those are Colombia and Panama. So Colombia, a lot of expats are attracted to Colombia for the warmer climate, low cost of living. Cost of renting a property can be half of that of a similar house in the U.S. or the U.K. There are a lot of benefits to living in the country, and for those who are looking for kind of a simpler way of life in their later years, this could be ideal. And there are opportunities for enjoying a lot of sports if you're an active type of a person, like water sports, and the cities have a variety of different restaurants, cinemas, shops that pretty much will suit the needs of most people. I mean, you're going to find something there that you'll want to do. And then Panama, you basically between majestic mountains and beaches, kind of offers the best of both worlds for retirees. Locals have a reputation for being pretty welcoming and friendly, kind of like Colombia. And from a cost of living perspective, it's highly affordable as well. Virtually everything is less expensive compared to the U.S. or the U.K., including groceries, restaurants, rent, which are approximately 46% lower. And expats who get a retirement visa enjoy a lot of different benefits, including discounts in entertainment, airfare, local transportation, hotel stays, as well as a one-time duty tax exemption for household goods of up to $10,000 and 100% duty exemption on the purchase or importation of a vehicle every 2 years. That makes it quite attractive. So let's go ahead and take a look at the visa situation over in Panama in Colombia. Before I get started on the Colombian and Panama visas, a lot of people don't realize that Colombia is the second most biodiverse country in the world. You can choose whatever climate and environment suits your taste. Colombia has everything from warm, tropical oceanside communities to spring-like cities and towns in the upper hills to cooler mountain locations. So it is really kind of unique in that aspect of it. So there's 19 different visas available for Colombia. Now, living in Colombia for more than 180 days in a calendar year will require a visa. And again, there are 19 different visa categories. The most common one for an expat retiree is called the TP7 or Pensionado visa. And you must prove a minimum monthly income of $700 from Social Security or a qualified pension or retirement account. In the case of a couple, one spouse applies for the visa and the other is covered as a dependent. Access to affordable and quality health and dental care is excellent. Colombia has an extensive network of modern public and private healthcare institutions as well. Okay, so for Panama, when you get there, you get 30 days without a visa, and that can be extended for an additional 60 days. So to file an application to be a permanent resident in the country, you need to go through an immigration attorney in Panama. For retiree resident status, you must show that you have an income or pension of at least $1,000 per month, and then $200 for each dependent. And you need to have some paperwork that needs to be filled out and some documents that need to be provided as well. Some of the benefits, again, like I said, there is no minimum age requirement for the Panama Pensionado program. Just you have to have the income or pension of at least $1,000 a month. So not really hard, and it comes with a lot of benefits. So that's why Panama gets one of the higher ratings from me. So again, Panama and Colombia making it to my number one spot. So I'm sure a lot of people were surprised because I'm geo in the Philippines and only one country actually made it in Asia, and that was Malaysia at number 5, and the rest were Central and South America. So guys, give me give me your opinion about what what experience you have in any of these countries, and what countries you like personally. Maybe you like a different country for various reasons. Let me know down in the comments. Let's have that discussion. Guys, don't forget to subscribe. And again, I do have YouTube memberships available with exclusive video content and other benefits. And also over on Patreon, I got about 50 some videos over on Patreon that are only available for Patreon members. So guys, check that out at patreon.com/geo in the Philippines. and I'll see you guys next time. Bye.